Alrighty, welcome back. And what I really wanted to do is make this fairing on the bottom, like the exit fairing where they take and they roll half round, like 1.5 inch, radius from an 1.5 inch PVC tube and on there. So a while ago I bought some 20,000s wide enough to do it. I have these pipes, these are left over from doing the wings. And the problem was that the distance is about 23 inches, 2 feet, whatever, but my 18-inch brake wasn't big enough. So I ended up going to Harbor Freight and I bought the 30-inch one. It was the last one they had, which I'm actually happy to see. It has this box support in here, which I wish I bought this one in the first place, because sometimes with the 60-61, if you get thicker, it bends and it doesn't make it as perfect. So anyway, got the bigger one, and while I'm there, I bought some cases to organize all the AN3 hardware that I'm always scrambling for now, that doing a lot of other stuff, and nut plates. And in the interest of getting something done, because I spent all day doing that, I started researching all the oil and fuel lines, lubrication hoses, so on and so forth, and I decided to make the overflow hoses. And so I cut this guy down. I used a Dremel tool with the cutoff blade and then just sanded it flush. I'm not going to put that in tonight, but I did put in, I guess you have to cut it down so when you screw it in, it clears this thing. I did put in this guy, sourced all the parts, cut this one out of 45. I know these are going to have to be cut to length once they're in the plane, but at least the hardware's there. And yeah, so a little side project, if you may, but I do have to do, or want to do this before the engine goes on, which once I bolt everything back in here should be soon, I think. But for now, good night. Wait up, hold up, forgot something, and that is the pass-throughs. The smaller one here is going to be the main power wire pass-through that comes from my little shunt box to the VPX on the inside. This big one is going to do the pass-through for the microsensors that go on the engine flywheel behind there that are not supposed to be cut to length, so they just barely fit through here. That's why we're doing the big one there. And on the other side, made this little grounding bracket that has the same dimensions as the high current grounding bracket, and they are going to get mounted right above the two pass-throughs here, and having the same dimensions. If for some reason we find we need to reverse them, we can do that. So I'm going to put some nut plates in there, and that will finish that, and I promise I'll get onto the exit fairing baffle. So that came out pretty good. Mounted those up there with some nut plates. There's a grounding bolt up here and the main grounding bolt, and both those grounds are going to run right over here to the other side of the stud ground, which on this side gets grounded to the battery and the engine block. So I cut the insulation here just while I have all the holes in the firewall. So a lot of holes to punch out for all these insulation pieces. But for now, good night. Alright, so the sheet that I bought is 3 feet by 1 foot. I got a telephone call. That was my brother Mark, who's building the same plane. So very important phone call. Talking planes took a little longer. Anyway, this piece is 3 by 1. I only need it to be 22 and 3/4 inches, I think, between the bottom of the cowl things. Wrap it around here, adds another 7 inches to it. So I'm going to cut it this length, try to my new 30-inch bend, and then try to roll it. I think that's the plan. Chop that first. is make a little piece of maybe aluminum angle and screw it to this so that can screw to it perpendicular. Then roll it, because I can't think of any other way to roll this thing around there and pull it. I was just kind of drawing out the rivet holes. I made the 2 marks for where these cut across, and I was just double checking. Yeah, there's a metal plate down here, and then there's these bolts with those tangs. I kind of just want to make sure that the rivets don't end up in that area. But I'm doing it right. So that lines up there and that lines up there. It's going to be somewhere around there. But I think if I do this right, then the tubes will pass. The tangs are up here and the plates are below the tube. So it should be good. So I'm going to drill those out. Alright, I was struggling with this big tube. You saw I put the things in there. I don't know what this is from, something with the wings. And then I had a tube with a smaller diameter and a couple of the holes lined up. So I was trying to get a little tighter radius, and kind of came up with this bend, which kind of goes out and then comes back. I think that'll work. And this is probably a 2-person job, but unfortunately I'm only 1 person. My helper slacking and the rest of the family sleeping, so here we go. That'll have to do, but I like it. I'm gonna say that this is intentional. This is an aerodynamic invention I came up with, okay? Thank you. I like it a lot. And I cut those little slots out that go around the frame there. I think I'm gonna, I was thinking of either replacing those rivets. I lined it up so you could, but I think I'm gonna put it right below it so it won't interfere there. And then just make the bottom fit. I gotta tighten it up a little bit, but cut those slots out. I have to cut a hole for that. And I'm also gonna run the crankcase breather and the fuel spill through that. So that'll double as a mount as well. But we'll leave that for tomorrow. For now. All right, here's where I'm at with this exit fairing. It's 22 and 3/4 inches wide. That leaves a little smidgen on either side for heat expansion. Haha. The brake line is in 2 7/8, smidgen more. Then 7 3/8 from here to here, and from here to here. And this is going to be the pass through for the oil tube that comes out the bottom, and the fuel tube that will put the overflow right onto the exhaust. And this was a 12-inch piece, and I cut off 6 5/8, so roughly this is 5 3/8, and that includes a 5/8 lip here, and then a 5/8 overlap underneath here. And I basically just did 5/8 because that's what the factory was in there, and then I put the all the holes at 5/16 in. And I did add another cleco down here, which will obviously be a rivet. I think this one and this one on either side. Mostly just because I thought it was a little bit light on fasteners down here. And that's a joke, because RANS put like 20 of them down here. I'm not sure why, probably for the nose dragger gear. So I'm going to open this up. I'm going to keep opening this up until I can get that valve, that AN fitting on there. I'm going to open this up. The tube is 5/8, then I'll put some grommets in there. And I think this is a 1/4 inch tube, and plus some grommets. So I'll open it up to whatever it needs to be. So I think that's a very elegant solution to mounting the oil and fuel overflow tubes there. Got some grommets, drilled some holes and stuck it in there. Actually quite sturdy. And admittedly, this is not my idea. I saw it on somewhere, probably the builder's log. I think a couple of people did it, and I just thought it looked really cool. So now I'm gonna pull these off because I don't want to drill this with the brake line in there. And keep going. This ended up being a 1 7/8 inch diameter hole that allows you to get a crow's foot in there and turn it one thing at a time. Also lets you get your fingers in so you can put the nut on and service it. So it is what it is. Overall, this came out really awesome. Really happy. And I think I'm gonna rivet it. I still gotta trim my insulation to go around it, but I think it's pretty much ready to go on. So anyway, I might end the video here depending on how long it is, and hopefully that helps. And good night. Thanks for watching. Alright, I'm not sure if this is a legitimate good demonstration or a waste of time, but basically I took the fairing off. It's called a Coanda effect, and put a piece of string here. I'm gonna try and be, consistent. Hold some compressed air, and you can see the turbulence kind of coming in. So you see how it's just blowing the string there? Let me put the fairing on. And the idea is that we obviously want like a laminar flow in the air to stick to that. Let's see if that makes a difference. Right about here. So that's pretty cool. Like, it sticks it to that and kind of pulls it out. So I think that's why this thing is so worthwhile doing. That's a cool little test. Again, I saw somebody else, I forget the name, I'll give credit when I figure it out. Randall Brooks and Vern, a couple of the people in the builder's log, had some good information on this. I thought, I think Pat Hatch invented it, and then other people are doing it. So I'm just adding to the experiment.